Welcome to the Public Committee meeting, the Town of Madisonville, Wednesday, March 26, 2025. Call to order.
Councilman Haddix. Councilman Bounds. Councilman Dennis.
Present.
Councilwoman Faison.
Present.
Councilman Ogle.
Present.
Mayor Pelot.
Present. Please silence your phones and stand for the pledge by Councilman Dennis. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First thing on the agenda is the Finance Committee. Committee members is Councilman Bounds and Councilman Haddix. First thing under that on the agenda is the wage study update. And don't have much to report on that. Deidre was in contact with the company, and the only thing they're complete with the wages. They're waiting for some feedback from some communities on the benefit package. So that's the only holdup right now. The benefit packages that they requested from some of the towns and communities hadn't responded, and they were hoping to get more to compare to. So when we get more, we'll certainly make you aware of that. Next thing on the agenda, is there any questions on that? Next thing on the agenda is Myers Engineering and Architect. I said that to you guys because, and I apologize for the late delivery of that, but actually I didn't get it until Monday. This Monday I got the electronic files, and last Friday is when they met back with me. We've been dealing with Myers engineers, and they have been wanting to do work for the town, and what they are proposed and what I sent to you is the plans for Highway 21 coming into town from Covington, from Renee Street to St. Paul Street, doing the road, doing the road, what do they call it? Calming work. And you see their plan. What they submitted to us Friday is the construction cost of this plan is $1,144,148. The federal match is $1,086,941, which is 95% federal match. The commitment that the town needs to do, because this engineering firm is going to do the application, they're going to do the preliminary drawings and submit the information. And if they get the grant, is only when we're going to be as a town committed to them for anything. So we have nothing that we're going to be obligated to unless they get the grant.
You said $1,104,000.
$1,144,000. Yeah, 148. Yeah. So the total cost, though, now to the and commitment that the town would have is that if they get the grant, then the local match, the 5% plus the engineering, the preliminary plans, the final plans, the bidding, the contract administration, and recordings. You can see is an additional $205,000, and there's some services that we may need to do, another $40,000. So the cost to the town, if we get the grant, would be a total of $303,154. for that total cost of project would be somewhere, well, I guess $1,400,000 with the construction cost. So basically got that out to you as soon as they sent it to me. I wanted you to see it. They're not going to do anything. The grant is the time frame for the grant application is May of this year, and they're not going to do anything until they know that the town is not only going to use their firm if the grant is approved and they get the grant for us, but we're committed to them for this $300,000 to complete the project. So, ready to answer questions? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at it. Thanks for sending it out to us. I have a couple of issues. One is that, you know, I think it would help with pedestrian safety, which I'm all in favor of. This would not be my priority, though. My priority for pedestrian safety is finding a safe way to get pedestrians across 21 and 22, far more than this. But beyond that, I didn't have time to go out and actually, I think the first thing the town should do is go out to the businesses that are in this area and show them what's being proposed and get their feedback. To me, it would be malpractice for any of us up here to vote on this without first talking to the businesses that would be affected by the construction, as well as the plan itself shows some changes in ingress and egress. There's very little parking on the side where the jewelry store is. Lakeside Amusement has moved out. Talked to them, they were retiring. I think they went out of state, so I don't know what's even going to happen with that building. But I would propose that the first thing we do is invite the business owners there to a meeting to hear their feedback. I did send Mr. Buddy out. I made some copies just to distribute it to them today because I was at work, didn't have time to go myself. Do you mind if he provides some feedback here?
That I what? I'm sorry?
Do you mind if he provides some feedback here about what he heard?
No,
okay.
not at all.
All right.
No, I got negative feedback on all businesses.
You got negative?
Yes, because of the tie-up, of the traffic, they have enough problems with the school system now. The traffic there, they feel it's gonna hurt their business.
How? I'm sorry, how?
I'm sorry?
In what way? I'm not clear on that. I'm not debating it, I just don't know.
Construction of everything and the tying up of more traffic.
So, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the actual plans here, and I don't see a key to read what is what in front of, like, let's say the Piggly Wiggly.
Yes, 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is the key. So on the third page.
Okay, keep in mind, let me tell you, just real quick. If you're looking, that is not the final plans. The plans, if it's approved, the plans would have to be done. There's still got to be a walkthrough with engineering and the town. And certainly, the council is going to be welcome to be in that walkthrough. This is part of the master plan. The master plan has been out for many years now, and that was done in and during the master plan. The layout for the street here is the Madisonville pedestrian and bicycle master plan has been something that we've been working with since its completion. So, yeah, just to answer.
Right, so that's why I was curious. I see what you're saying. I just wanted to make sure I understood it. While listening to you and hearing everything, I want to make sure I know what I'm looking at and then, associating it with what I'm hearing. And would this mean, like, and I know this is preliminary, so it's not permanent.
Very.
Looking at Madisonville Jewelers, would this be a sidewalk that would eliminate that parking in front of it?
Nothing's been,
It's just a suggestion.
nothing's been done actually to any part of it. It's
Right.
going to be, that's a concept that they're used from the master plan to do that preliminary drawing, but the drawing hadn't been done at all to be submitted for the application.
Okay,
So
okay.
it's the concept, if we don't want to do it, let's just tell them not,
Right.
we're not going to submit it.
I'm
Well-
not,
It's a gift that we're not going to be accepting.
Well, right, I don't want to say no to it, we just would need to maybe come up with a different layout to make sure that everybody can get in and out easily, right? And we're not taking away parking from business owners, nobody wants to see that. Or, I don't think so, we already have such limited parking here in town, but I think maybe in some ways, it could actually improve the safety of entering and exiting some of these spots as well, so.
Actually, what you're not looking at is the concept, the same engineering firm did Girard Street in Mandeville, if you're familiar with
Yeah,
that. So
100%.
There's going to be on-street parking in addition to the off-street parking.
Okay.
Yeah, so the plan is just to use what they have, the highway, and not narrowing the highway, just using the shoulders and having the landscaping, the on-street parking, it would all be more organized.
I think maybe kind of along the same vein that Lewis is saying, we could possibly get the engineers to speak with each business owner individually to hear their concerns. So that,
Listen, what they will do, and they're going to meet with us if we want to do it, but this has to be submitted in May. They've been aware of this, or looking at the master plan since we did Highway 22 here, in the same fashion as what went on in Highway 22 is what we go on that Highway 21 corridor.
the final plan would have to be created before they submit it.
Sure,
correct?
yeah.
So I got a question, when you're concerned about traffic, and traffic being worse, what is your reasoning behind the traffic being, how would that cause traffic to be worse?
The slowdown of the traffic coming through for construction. And also, one of the things was the loss of the shoulders for parking, where many of the parking areas in that particular section is small parking lots. And if you take the shoulder, you're taking away parking for what?
The shoulder's going to be used for parking.
And not in this plan. This takes away all of the parking on the
It's
shoulder.
not-
I thought that landscaping will go on the shoulder of the road.
Now, you see the landscaping, there will be landscaping in areas, but there will be on-street parking in this area.
That's not shown anywhere on here, Mr. Mayor. The other thing I wanted to point out was just the agenda for tonight. This is listed as Meyer Engineers and Architects. No business owner in the town who would have looked at this would have any idea, except for me sending Mr. Buddy out with the thing, that we would be talking about something that's this impactful for them by looking at this agenda. So again, I think,
Explain that to you.
yeah, again, I think we,
Monday.
yeah, I know that, but this agenda doesn't explain,
I didn't have it.
yeah, it's almost like we're not even saying what we're talking about.
It's just open for discussion, Louis. We can't vote on anything tonight. We can't do it. It's just open for discussion. The fact that you made some people aware of it is fine, but
No,
it's just-
what I want to tell you is if after, we don't want to move forward, now, we're not going to vote, but after night, if we got the opinion not to move forward with it, they're going to drop it and walk away from it. That's up, now, it's okay. If you don't want it to do it, you don't want to do the master plan.
No, I don't think that's true. What I'm proposing is that we bring in the business owners that would be impacted by this and get their feedback. It's just, it's bizarre to me that we would be even considering this without reaching out to them. It's I don't know, 1,000 foot of town roadway. It's easy to go out there and tell them, hey, we want your feedback to find out how you feel like this might impact your business, and if we move forward with it, how could we design it so that, that it's designed in a way that's not going to impact your business, or maybe even improves it, which we should be doing. And also look at the construction to make sure that it doesn't affect them adversely during the destruction. It just seems like it doesn't make any sense for me to do it any other way than that.
Then I would suggest that we refuse it and for now, and I'll give it to you as operations and maintenance, and you can make contact with Meyer Construction or any other engineering firm if you want to proceed with it. I don't know any other way to do it. I mean, we have a master plan that business owners had input with, and what we've done here in front of Town Hall didn't affect any businesses. We didn't affect Bados. We didn't affect the bank. We didn't affect anyone. But if we don't want to do it, it's okay with me. I'm just, I think it brings benefit and value to the businesses. It doesn't distract from it. It brings benefit and value to them.
Yeah, I'd just like to hear from them, because this is, I mean, the way they're presenting this to us, it limits the ingress and egress, which didn't happen here. It takes away all of the parking spots that are currently out there, and we need to hear from the businesses what their opinion is on that. It doesn't take a long time to have it. I would like to have it as a public meeting, because it's not just the businesses. There's a few residences on this as well.
Well, the problem is they just brought it to, and I'm not disagreeing with you on that whole thing. That'd be great if we had 6-8 months to do this. If we decide not to do it, we decide not to do it, like he said, but
Yeah.
we gotta vote on this in April. We gotta vote on this in 4 weeks.
Yeah, the ordinance gives any,
Actually, I'm going to bring back our feelings to them tomorrow morning, because they're not going to do
They're not
any
gonna
more
move forward
engineering. They're
anymore.
not going to do anything.
They're not gonna go ahead
It's all cost to them.
They're gonna go ahead and recreate drawings and recreate egress and work with the, it costs them money, I guess.
I
Is that?
mean, we still have to do the plan,
Yeah.
and we were going to do the plan with them.
How long has this been worked on?
Well, they probably over a year. They haven't worked on it. They were waiting for the grant to open back up. The grant has opened back up, and the application has to be submitted.
This portion of it was already completed?
They took from our master plan, just what we have here in this master plan. Yeah, this is the master.
You're holding right there is the master plan. Okay.
Master plan. And they took that to recognize what we did here and also what we have in the master plan in that area to help develop and improve the area.
And when did the grant open back up?
I don't know when it opened back up, but
Okay.
they had a meeting here, they came back. I hadn't heard from them for a year.
So,
A year ago, they had the thoughts of it, but to work with this.
I could,
Yes, ma'am.
I would happily and gladly quickly call every business owner tomorrow, myself, and speak with them and line item out each of their concerns and at least present that within 48 hours to the engineers. And that way, they could continue within the next, let's say, business week, right? So next Monday or Tuesday, they can continue their plans, and we can still present to try and apply for the money, right? Because I don't want us to lose potential money if it's there, right? We do have a master plan. We do want to increase pedestrian safety. I personally have issues coming out of Morgan Street, Johnson Street, because it's not defined clearly. It's difficult to get in and out, and I do think these things would help that. But I think we should also provide the engineers with some of the concerns so they can hopefully
This is a
compromise.
Yeah, this is the DOTD projects.
Okay,
So DOTD is going to have to approve all of it.
right, of course.
Which is going to be looking at that, all of the access points and entrance points.
Right.
Yeah, so,
So when they apply for the grant, it's my understanding in the past at least, the drawing has to be final. But how many changes can be made to that during the implementation? So let's say we tell them, yes, we want to do this. How much can this change? As far as where the egress and regress
Well, listen.
and the plants go, you know, and so that we address the concerns, how much of that can change?
Much of it,
Okay.
much of it. You know, you make changes all the time.
So if we accept the grant application and the engineering, we got plenty of time to get input from business owners on how to do it, right? On how to implement it.
I would think so,
Okay, well, that's better.
yes.
One of the big questions was why a 7-foot sidewalk?
I know, actually, that's been changed. It's back to a 5-foot on each side, just as we have here. And so that changed already.
Okay, and it's
Yeah.
not gonna interfere with the shoulders of the road?
It's gonna take in the shoulder. With the shoulders are gonna be used for either on-street parking or either landscaping, one or the other. The shoulder.
That was one of the things too.
I'd like to remind everybody that we are live streaming, and when
Yes,
we're not
thank
speaking, I hate to ask you, Mr. Buddy, but if you could come up to the mic just so they can hear you on the camera.
Does Mike work?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
I was here.
Yeah, I know. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, your question about the shoulders is that the shoulders will be used for on-street parking and also landscaping, beautification. Yes.
Okay. All right, that was our 7-foot sidewalk and such as the jewelry store. Am I gonna lose my parking if you put a sidewalk there and it's against the law to park on the sidewalk? Where does my customers park?
You're talking about for where? The Piggly Wiggly?
I'm talking about the jewelry store right now. That was one of the questions that he asked me.
No, you said your parking as far as, are you talking about? I'm trying-
No, I'm talking about the jewelry store.
The jewelry store.
He asked me a question. I'd like to give my answer on it. Next.
Right behind you.
No, it wasn't him. It was the
Oh,
the
okay.
businessman, Tony himself.
Okay. I don't have the answer for that. Right now, the state doesn't want anybody parking there. I can tell you that. You can ask DOTD. They don't want anybody there.
Parking in his parking lot?
Does he have a parking lot?
Sure he does.
He does?
He pulls to the building and then at the top of the road.
Well, that's not, I don't know the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
Will they be parallel parking on the shoulder for that business? I'm gonna say yes.
Well, no, he don't park on the shoulder in that business, but he heads to his building straight ahead.
I understand.
I'd be interested to know how many spots he has, and maybe they could, we're talking about parallel parking, if we could make it to where there's an equal amount of spots with all of the changes, so nobody loses any parking. I think that there's a way for us to figure this out. We just need to talk to them, and we need to talk to the engineers and come up with a
I'm just laying out
compromise.
some of
Yeah.
the questions that was
Absolutely.
asked me when I brought their attention to what was going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Buddy. I see 6 businesses, Mr. Buddy. Mr. Buddy, out of the 6 businesses, how many did you go talk to today?
Well, I talked to my section of Piggly Wiggly and the drugstore, Triple Nickel, the coffee shop, and the jewelry store, plus the one next to him.
Thank you.
I'm sorry? No, I didn't talk to the nail shop.
Thank you, Mr. Buddy. Come
Okay.
from retail, I fully understand what their concerns are. Because
Okay.
anytime you impede upon walk-in traffic or whatever, yeah, that's understandable.
Okay.
Yes, come on. Just introduce yourself and,
Drew Brewster, I own the corner store for the jewelry and the Acadian blinds in Morgan Street. Yeah, it's gonna kill a couple of parking spots. I know I don't own that. I know there's never been a sidewalk there for, I don't know how long, but one that ends that. Unless you pull a pull-off like Girard Street. I was down on Girard Street yesterday. It's really nice. There's all kind of little houses turned into businesses. in front of all of those little businesses, they have pullovers. I think that's the smart thing. Mr. Buddy, that's not good because it kills coming off the road. But in front of me, it would be great. Across the street from me, in front of the dentist office, would actually create 2 or 3 more.
Absolutely.
And I think that would be okay. I do have another problem. That building is street level. When you walk in that jewelry store, you don't step up a lick. They done built that road up so much, it is dead level with the floor in the jewelry store. Same thing with the Katie and Bond store, it's dead level. You put anything there and build any kind of little levee, I'm taking water. So that's my issue.
Yeah.
It's gonna,
Again, it would be engineered. There's not going to be, the on-street parking was definitely discussed with them. There's plenty parking right in front of across the street from the building that can be used for on-street parking, and that was discussed.
yeah.
The whole concept with the Gerard Street as an example, the same firm did that area. That's proposing to do this. So I understand your
My-
concern as far as the elevation.
The elevation's
Yeah,
what's
yeah,
killing me. Now, I was planning on eventually doing a parking lot. Right now, my funds are not there to do that behind the building. But my big concern is really the elevation. If it's a ½ inch and that water gets behind that sidewalk, it's coming in that building.
The
The only time my building's ever flooded was during Ida, and it wasn't high enough to get in the building. It was people running the cars up and down the road, police officers, not them. And they didn't know, the police officers didn't know, that was the only high spot. They was running around and water was going
Yeah.
under the door.
elevation on some of the Water Street, where we're going to be replacing sidewalks, is the same situation. It's going to be taken down, grinded down, and it's going to remain at ground
Yeah, as
level.
long as it's ground level, it
Ground
should be
level,
okay.
yeah.
But if it gets, that was my big concern. I know I don't own what's in front of me, but it'd be nice if it was done like Gerard Street, to where all those, I mean, there's quite a few parking spots. You can
Yeah,
put
I
on
know
the side
exactly
of the
where
road.
you're talking about. My
Yeah.
family used to go over there often to go eat, and there's these cute little mini parking
Yeah,
lots,
there's
right?
little like 2-3 car parking, parallel parking on
I'm
the side.
looking at our GIS map to show who owns what, and the town doesn't own a whole, like, we've got our little dead streets that we have around town, but there's none real close to there that would lend to that. But I think that's a great idea if we could find the spot for it,
Yeah.
We just have to have the land. Right.
Yeah, I sell y'all a lot for parking.
Something to consider.
Thank you.
Any other comments, concerns? Kristen, I certainly will, I would say I'd take you up on your
Okay.
wants.
Mr.
and
Buddy, can I
efforts
get with
to-
you after the meeting? Would you
to,
mind if I get with you after the meeting to get phone numbers for all those business owners?
I don't have phone numbers, I want.
Just went by? Okay, I'll do that. I'll have them by Monday.
Okay.
I'll do my due diligence to try and get as many people over there to give me their top 5 concerns.
So do you feel, Mr. Buddy, do you feel that if we can address the parking issues, that it would be something we should consider?
I don't know, I mean, you'd have to talk to them more. I think they could say, you got, 4 light poles that's gotta be moved, and how much drainage are you putting in? Are you digging up the road for that too, or
No,
the drainage that is in there is gonna stay there?
that's going to be up to the state to improve the drainage. We've given them everything. We've spent thousands of dollars looking into the drainage, and we gave it to the state. That's up to them.
That's one of the thoughts too, if you're digging up the drainage to put new pipes down and such as that, is that gonna tie up everything too?
No, well-
The biggest thing is the construction of it during the time.
We're not doing drainage, no.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I just saw some basins on there. I didn't know how much drainage you was gonna do.
So, Mr. Buddy, would it be fair to say that their main concern is loss of business due to the construction process?
Yes,
They're not so much worried about the size of the sidewalk or the beautification part of
well,
it?
it was just a question, why 7 foot, you know, but I think, I don't think
Okay, thank you.
that's a big thing there.
And that certainly was discussed last Friday, and it's been reduced to 5-foot sidewalks, and, which would give more area for either landscaping or on-street parking, both. And if, this is just a plan, but the master plan is here for anyone to look at as far as what the concept or the thought is to doing this. So, and that's all they had to go by, is what the master plan indicated that the town wanted.
So we have, they're estimating the town would put up $303,000.
Correct.
All right. We have some money that comes from the parish that we have to spend on the roads, right?
No, not on roads, no, on drainage,
The sales tax sharing doesn't include the roads at all?
no.
So where would $3,000 come from for this?
Sales tax or either general budget.
This same money we're trying to use to give raises to police officers, fix the water system? That's a problem.
Then I would suggest vote no.
Why is it a problem?
Because this is not anywhere near the priority to me as raises for employees, which we're going to hear next month from the survey company, or the water issue. My God, $300,000 when we don't even know what those things are going to cost us yet.
Well, we're already replacing the pipe, right? We're replacing 1,000-foot of pipe, right? We're already moving, hold on, we're moving forward. The fact that we have water and we haven't decided on the wages, if we feel confident that we can pay for all those things, and just because you have a priority, you can't stop on the other things or they'll never get done. The water's taking too long already. And it's because of differences of opinions and different money. And it's not anybody's fault, not one person's fault that it's taken this long. It's the whole thing of the situation. But we can't just stop with everything else, in my mind. I mean, we weren't able to turn 300 into $1.4 million.
Mr. Joe said,
It's something that we did decide we wanted to do a long time ago, and just, you know, I don't agree with you. I think we should go for it if we can in any way appease the business owners with the parking. There's going to be some interruption with the construction, but if we can appease the owners with the egress and regress and the parking,
And
I
keep
think
in
it's going to
mind,
help
this
their
is-
business.
This
It's going
is
to
probably, even if approved tonight, this is probably 3 years from now. This isn't going to be done next year. This, by the time it's submitted, if we get the grant, it's probably 3 years till before construction starts.
well, it looks like the bulk of our cost, though, is up front. It's the plans, it's the final plans, the bidding, that's all $200,000. You got to have the plans before you go to bidding.
We have no cost, no risk, unless they get the work, the grant. We have nothing to lose.
What's the average turnaround on being formally awarded a grant and then actually getting the budget and completing the project? Just guesstimate, rough estimate.
Starting this would be 3 years from now. Completing
Just
it
from
might
your
be 4.
experience.
Might be 4, yeah.
The grant opens in May. It's not
Yeah,
Right.
December or January.
no, submitting the deadline is May. Then when they award it, I don't even know when they award it.
Right. It
Yeah.
could be 6 months, could be, and it could roll into next year's session with the state government on Okay, well, they didn't award it this year because they put it off for whatever reason. Now we're gonna wait till next year and award the grant. So it's just asking.
So at, let's say, just fastest turnaround ever than you've ever seen, right? It wouldn't be, and this wouldn't need to become due until next year's budget. Let's say it's crazy fast, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Next
Yeah,
year's budget at earliest.
This isn't not even being considered in this year's budget.
Okay.
Probably
Yeah.
not next.
And probably not next year's, probably not.
I would guess
Yeah.
27.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's 3 years from now.
And I believe we can take care of the concerns of the business owners in that time.
Preliminary drawings haven't been done yet.
Right.
What you got is just a sketch.
Well, I'd like to see all the things done. I'd like to see the police paid more and the water fixed and have this done. So that's my goal, right? So that's why I'm asking these questions, because I don't want to say no to this, because I want to be able to say yes to that. So that's,
I don't think you quit doing anything until you do something else. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me. We wouldn't have anything done in town, any improvements, if we waited until one thing was complete and done to do the others. It's just the way it goes. I mean,
well, and we're not voting on this tonight. So I think we've all shared some good information and perspective. So, you know, we all have some.
we do need to, but even with your comments back to me by Monday, we need to give this engineering firm
Absolutely.
time to do the preliminary drawings, complete the application, and submit it by May. So this is gonna need to be, a commitment's gonna either have to be made, or we're gonna have to tell them, no, we're not interested. So,
I'm in favor of it. I am in favor of taking all considerations of the business owner, but I'm in favor of it.
Keith, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm in favor of it as well. It's part of the beautification, it's part of the master plan, it's something we've been working on. But it's not anything that's gonna happen this year or even next year, but we need to get the ball rolling for it to start at the earliest, maybe after next year. So, yeah, I'm in favor of it. We can work around it.
Who's you not, Councilman?
I'm not in favor of doing anything until we hear from these business owners, and they wouldn't even have known about this if I hadn't sent Mr. Buddy out to tell them. And it's disappointing to me that it wouldn't even be on the agenda as something that somebody could look at and say, hey, I want to find out about this.
And tonight was not going to be anything but some direction. It was not going to be anything more than that, as to get the engineering firm working towards some preliminary plans. So we've got plenty of time for meeting, but we don't have plenty of time to get the application in if we want it to move forward. So I'll hear from you Monday, and
Sure.
I'll notify them that we'll.
Give me 2 business days. 4 days, 2 business days, right? And I'll go get as many thoughts as I can, right? I don't know that the owners will be around. Maybe I can finagle a phone number or 2 out of some employees and give them calls, right?
Okay. Yep,
Thanks.
sounds good.
I got it.
Yes.
Yeah, Eddie, I don't understand this, and I'm not my brother, okay, so I'm not here to bitch at y'all. But I don't understand why a plan wasn't presented to the business owners to say, before this even come to a vote here. I agree with Lewis. I mean, this should have been, we should have known about this. We really should have.
Okay.
We should have known about this a year ago when y'all knew about it. I mean, it's crazy.
I didn't know anything about this year.
Well, y'all said it's been in the plan for a year.
No, I said, I met with them a year ago, and they were waiting for the grant to open up again. The grant
So-
wasn't open. So they were waiting for that to open up.
How long has that been?
The
since
grant, when it
opened?
opened, I have no idea.
But,
This Friday, I met with them.
Well,
Now, let me tell you what we can do.
they
We
should
can,
give y'all a
we
little
can,
more lead time.
I would suggest what we do is not take advantage of it and wait until the grant opens up the next time. Forget it and not do it.
Hey, I'm not opposed of anything that goes on in this town. I'm not opposed of things, but I think in this should have been talked to the business owners. I agree.
Given more time, it would have definitely been. It just was,
But once you give it the okay tonight, it's a go, right?
No,
Well,
no,
that's
we're not
what I'm
voting on
hearing.
anything tonight, no. So this will officially be voted on at our next council meeting. What we're talking about tonight is just discussing it. We're taking in y'all's comments. What I'm going to do is just go get some official, like, hey, these are my concerns. Like, I'll speak to you afterwards if you don't mind, and I'll take your name, the businesses that you,
Yeah.
the locations that you own, and write your chief complaints or concerns. And that way, we can provide that to these engineers, because they do have to provide something to ask for the grant, right? We vote on whether or not they apply for the grant at that council meeting. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, I thought. y'all voted
Nothing
on
here
it
is official.
tonight. It was a done deal, but it wasn't gonna happen until 3 years from now, but it's in stone, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, no vote tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, we can vote on it in 2 weeks. And if we don't get the grant, nothing's gonna happen anyway. So,
Seems like give y'all more time if they, I don't understand.
we've got.
we don't understand that. I mean, that's just the way it fell, I guess.
We got another year. Whenever it opens up again, we can ignore it and not do anything.
I don't want to, well,
And so-
I hate to do that. Hey, Drew, if, other than your drainage or your elevation, the idea of maybe that road section, that 1,000 feet or whatever, look like something like Gerard Street, would that make the business
I mean,
owners unhappy?
It would work for some people, yeah, definitely. I don't think it'd work for Mr. Buddy.
Oh, for the pig?
For the pig, because you'd have curbs where people turn off and they couldn't turn in. But
I don't know
in
that
front of
we
me, it would
necessarily
probably work, but I'd have to worry about that drainage system
Oh,
too
yeah,
at that
without a
point.
doubt, without a doubt.
Now, across the street from me would work too, in front of the dentist and all down that road. Actually, I don't know why it stopped before it got to the curve or before it got to the Ace Hardware, because that's gonna screw them up too. If y'all continue it, right now on the drawing, it stops before the Ace. But if you continue in front of the Ace, well, that kind of screws them up too.
If we block the parking lot.
If you put a sidewalk in, you write a ticket for parking on the sidewalk, that back tires are gonna be on the sidewalk. I'm just saying, I don't know.
Just observe what we did on Highway 22, where we didn't do anything in front of Bados. We didn't do a thing to limit their parking, didn't do a thing to it. There's areas there's no potential, no plan to do any damage to anybody's business.
I know, but it just, I just found out about this tonight. And when I seen the drawing, it's like, well, what the hell? I mean, yeah. But anyway,
All right, thanks.
all right.
Okay, no other comments? Okay, moving on, operations and maintenance, Councilman Ogle, Councilman Dennis. First thing on the agenda is water system evaluation. The unidirectional flushing again is April 14th and 15th. There's nothing more really to be said about that at this point, unless y'all have other comments.
Just beyond that, have we heard anything back from PEC about the line replacement?
No. Next thing on the agenda is the wastewater treatment point repairs. That's the $2 million grant. And it went out for bid on 3/19, and the opening is scheduled for 4/15 at 2 p.m. here. Any questions, concerns, thoughts? No? Next thing on the agenda is the Water Street sidewalk project. That is, the updated information was submitted to USDA Rural Business Development Grant, was submitted to them, and we're expecting to go out for bids in approximately 2 weeks. And additional note there, not on the agenda, is the water pressure monitoring devices have been installed and they're operational right now.
That's the new gauges we were discussing last week?
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Any questions? Next thing on the agenda is Parks and Recreation Committee members, Councilman Haddix, Councilwoman Faison. The thing on the agenda is the Water Street Boardwalk improvements and recommendations update. And there's none because we had a meeting that was planned and scheduled, but it was postponed. The architect is out of town and he asked, could we postpone it until he got back? So we have no update there. And the last thing on the agenda is Public Safety Committee meeting, committee members, Councilman Dennis, Councilman Bounds, and the fireworks, the decision and direction of the fireworks is up to you all.
You gave us an assignment on that. You wanted some input from all 5 of us. All right, I'm prepared to give you some. First of all, the chief at the last meeting pointed out that some of the other municipalities had maybe outlawed fireworks, but none of them enforce the rule. And I've seen that myself. So I'm really not interested in, at this point, in adding more ordinances to what we have. However, what I've done is what I would recommend is that we make a statement on how we're going to enforce our current regulations. And we really have 2 that would perhaps apply to fireworks, 3 actually. One is, we talked about at the last meeting, it was if you are going to shoot a firework directly at a building, a person, or an animal, that's a crime. And that's pretty much set. But we also have a littering ordinance, and we have a disturbing the peace ordinance. And so what I did, Mr. Mayor, and I realized this, whatever we decide, probably half the town's not going to like it, but I put together a statement that I want to share with you tonight that perhaps might be a letter to everyone to give them an idea of how we might enforce our current rules as it relates to fireworks. So I'll hand that out to you, but basically it says, if you have fireworks, you need to contain them to your yard and clean them up afterwards. If they go out into a public roadway, you need to clean that up. If they go into a neighbor's yard, that's different. To me, that's the equivalent of taking a pile of trash and throwing it over your neighbor's yard into his yard. Maybe unintentional in the fireworks, so to me, a good neighbor would make sure that if I'm going to have fireworks that go into my neighbor's yard, they're going to be participating in this, and they're going to know that at least they're going to be on board with me shooting fireworks next to their house. So I put together a short letter, just as a draft, to give to you. The truth is, our ordinances give responsibility to enforce these to the mayor, not to the council. So to me, it's your decision, not really ours, but you did ask for our input. And so I'm going to give it to you.
Well, along those same lines, I'm sorry, you said?
No, you were going to read it, the letter?
It's a little bit lengthy. You want me to? It's the last thing on the agenda. All right, I'll read it. So what I envision this is really either a letter going out to all residents from the mayor or from all of us, all 6 of us up here. Dear Madisonville residents, we have recently become aware of concerns some residents have expressed regarding fireworks displays within the town limits of Madisonville. The purpose of this correspondence is to provide guidance to all residents and clarification on enforcement of town ordinances which may come into play during holiday fireworks displays. The town has no ordinance which specifically makes fireworks displays illegal, but everyone is expected to comply with all ordinances intended to maintain peace and safety for all town residents and visitors. The town of Madisonville's charter states the mayor shall have all the superintending control of all officers and affairs of the municipality and shall take care that the laws and ordinances are executed. The charter stipulates that the mayor is given the authority to enforce town ordinances. Section 16.6 of the town's criminal code makes it illegal to shoot fireworks toward any building, person, or animal. This code is effective at all times, and violators are subject to penalty. Section 1633 of the town's criminal code makes disturbing the peace and littering illegal, with a fine of $214 for disturbing the peace and $250 for littering. Under certain circumstances, fireworks displays could fall under either or both of those activities. In order to clarify the town's approach to enforcement of Section 1633 and its applicability to seasonal fireworks displays, the following guidance is offered to residents. Seasonal fireworks displays shall not be considered as disturbing the peace on December 31st, beginning at 8 a.m. and lasting through 1 a.m. on January 1st, and on July 4th, beginning at 8 a.m. and lasting through 1 a.m. on July 5th. Fireworks displays which generate debris which is contained to the property of the person launching the fireworks shall not be subject to any littering violation, provided the debris is removed within 1 day of the display. Fireworks debris which lands on public property, including roads and other rights-of-way, shall not be subject to any littering violation, provided the person launching the fireworks makes no effort to remove any debris that lands on the public property. Fireworks debris which lands on private property without the permission of the property owner shall be considered a violation of the littering ordinance and subject to fines, currently $250 per incident. Residents need to be aware that fireworks debris which causes damage to someone's property may also be subject to the collection of monetary compensation through the court system. It is the intent of the town of Madisonville that residents be allowed to engage in safe holiday celebrations which are respectful of neighbors, as well as public and private property. That's my draft and input for you.
I think one question is going to be, when it hits somebody else's building, I mean, I guess that's litter. When it lands on their roof, I guess that's litter. It really doesn't, it really doesn't stop them from shooting them and landing on their roofs, I guess, which seems to be the largest concern, hitting the building or the roof. I guess $214 fine for that. With you, I don't want to do an ordinance, but there's some real concerns by people that are real. So,
can I make a comment on that? What you're doing is making exceptions to the ordinance. Okay, that's what you're doing with regard to dates, holidays, etc. So you're going to have an ordinance in place, and then you're going to have a piece of paper which modifies the ordinances without it becoming an ordinance, which is certainly very uncommon and certainly unenforceable.
Are we able to just modify the existing ordinances?
You can do that, but you can't modify an ordinance, especially to its enforcement, especially criminal ordinance, because criminal ordinance requires intent. And if anybody shoots something that goes into a property or something like that, they're going to say, I did not intend to do it. It was, so you're always going to have a problem with enforcement in that regard. But to amend the ordinance by creating exceptions at the minimum, you have to incorporate it in the ordinance itself.
My suggestion along those lines, that's good, Louis. A lot of that's good verbiage. One, we know who for past history, the ones that have the exorbitant fireworks. We could have the police make a patrol in that area. We can contact the fire department and ask the chief if they can place a pumper in town from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. when the vast majority of them are being shot, just to save response time. Something else, we can require permit and insurance for liability for the guys that want to do the larger fireworks shows. That's being done currently in Abita Springs and in Covington. But we got to do something to get it under control, and I'm glad we don't have an ordinance to where we just totally just nullify it, you know. Let's face it, a lot of people like to shoot fireworks with their kids. I did that when mine were growing up. My son does it with his now. But we do have to be more responsible, and we have to be worried about the litter that goes over to your neighbor's yard, or like Brad said, the fireworks that land on people's porches or on their roofs. Granted, they need to clean up, and the next day they go knock on that homeowner's door and they make arrangements to get the stuff off their porches and pick it up. So that's where I am with that right now.
I agree with that, picking up and then making that effort, but I've never had, I mean, I know my neighbor shoots them, but I've never had it landing on my porch or under my overhang and by my front door, and that would really bother me. And we're going through all this, and it just occurred to me that I don't know. I know Mike Dalton's talked to the individual, and maybe we should appease or ask him to do it at the boat launch, but it should be a neighborly understanding that this is, I'm really bothering you, my neighbor, and I need to, it really should be that easy, and maybe we need to address it in that way.
Keith, what you said, Abita Springs has a requirement for insurance?
Yeah. Permit and liability insurance to cover any damages that they have caused by the fireworks.
What's the minimum that they're required to do that? I mean, if I go out and pop 2 fireworks in my front yard, does that qualify? Or, you know, is it like, oh, you're going to pop this many fireworks or have this size display, then it's required?
They don't stipulate whether it's small or large. They just stipulate if you're shooting fireworks, you got to have a permit and you got to have insurance to cover it.
And they validate that? Or like, you know, say Paul's riding around, he sees it, hey, you got your permit? That sort of thing?
Mm-hmm. Yep. In order to
Okay.
get your permit, you got to produce your insurance coverage.
And if
And they take a picture of your declaration page.
And if they don't have it, then we fine them. Is that correct? Guys, I'm curious, how do you guys feel like that's enforced, like realistic for y'all when you're working that shift?
The same number. I've been employed here, we've received 2 calls. I've been here 15 years, I've had 2 calls. We've never had an issue, and I agree with Councilman Adams saying, be ridiculous. You have a party and you make a mess in the street or on sidewalk, clean it up. Be ridiculous. We've never had neighbors, we never had calls, we never had an issue where 2 people were, we come 1 minute ago where a firework landing in a garden. I don't recall more than time that I had on the phone, and it was just a complaint on the phone. Nothing
Okay.
more than
Okay.
What's anybody's feelings here about asking them if they want to do it on the boat launch?
Well, I spoke with the gentleman that is mentioned abusing this, and he's not opposed to doing them in the park. So I think this can be worked out without actually
Making ordinance
making
changes.
ordinances and requiring a family who's popping fireworks with their kids to buy insurance to cover.
I don't think that it's necessarily a bad idea, though, Louis, for us to remind the residents that there are rules, there are ordinances, because there's one instance in particular where a porch was shot, and it was directed at the porch, right? And it could be mischievous children, and kids do things like that, right? But we need to be mindful that it's destructive, and we maybe need to remind our residents, hey, watch your kids while they're shooting fireworks. Make sure they're not destroying someone else's property and being a nuisance, because kids like being nuisances. You know, they just do. They enjoy it. They're going to be sneaky and see how far they can get away with things. But I don't think it's a bad idea for us to maybe every holiday send out a reminder of, hey, these are our ordinances. Please be kind to your neighbors and respect them. I think that's a good idea.
And I'll follow up and talk to him as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's not opposed to being a good neighbor.
I think putting in a permit and insurance requirement is the same as outlawing fireworks in the town, basically. That's the net effect of it, which I don't want to do. Yeah, I guess if you guys can talk to the people causing the issue, because I thought it was on your street too, Brad.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah, behind me, but he comes up to the street to do it. But it's very, if this individual spends $100, that guy spends $1. I mean, it's nothing compared to what we're talking about.
Just to the police who are here, the reason we're talking about this is because the complaint was brought to the council. So we're trying to come up with some way to address it and really some answer out of respect for the people that came before us and voiced their concern.
Paul, you said it was 15 years, you've only had the 2 complaints?
2 complaints in 15 years.
Thank you.
And both of those complaints were not during New Year's or 4th of July. It was just a random time. Y'all knew who it was. Had some spare fireworks, went to the street, popped a couple. And as soon as I went and told them, hey, we got a complaint, can you stop? Yeah, sorry, no problem.
Very good.
Okay, so I might rewrite this and try to make it in a way that Bruce doesn't think I'm changing the ordinance. All right. If you could help me, Bruce.
Well, what are we gonna do with the letter? If it's, are we just gonna mail it to all the individuals, say, please be courteous, or? I mean, that's
Are
okay.
you gonna say something, Bruce?
But if you're gonna put changes to it, you can't do it.
You have to write that letter very, very carefully. First of all, I have to review all the 3 ordinances, how many there are, okay? And then you gotta look at the letter to see if are you telling them that, hey, we have an ordinance which applies to fireworks, but this is just to let you know we're not gonna enforce it as long as you be a good boy, okay? That type of thing. You don't wanna do that, okay? And you don't wanna make any change to the ordinance without amending the ordinance. So if there's anything in that letter that would contradict, okay, the ordinance, then you got to do it by ordinance. It's just that simple. Now, can I foresee a letter that would accomplish what you want to accomplish? Yes. It's just you got to be careful, okay, and that's just the way it is.
Before we, I'd like to make a comment. I've been talking to Kristen, and we've just heard enough people talk about it, and I have. And is there any way we can open the splash pad a month earlier and close it a month later?
You set the dates. I know. You set the dates. You can do it what you want. We can open it in December if you want.
No. Well, I just know that there's really no, if it's not running and nobody's using it, there's no real cost. The only time that it's an issue is when we get a freeze, and we gotta shut it down. So, we had a discussion before, and everybody just kind of washed over it, and it was forgotten. You're just saying, go ahead and make the dates, and we'll do whatever.
You're on the Parks and Recreation Board.
Yeah, but he asked me 100%. I mean, I've had several people ask me, why do we close it so early? Louisiana's hot so long. And I'm like, I'll look into it. So I agree. I think it doesn't hurt to give it an extra month on each end. And if it's too cold, then people aren't going to use it. You know, we don't have freezes during those times, so I don't think it's an issue.
Except people, what they'll do is just push it and they run off.
Well, that can happen anytime, but.
You have that,
Well,
so I mean.
Cal said, go ahead.
I would just say, listen, we can open it when you guys establish an opening date.
Okay.
And close it when you vote on that.
Because I'm of the understanding that there's no additional cost keeping it, other than when somebody goes and uses it, but just to have it ready to use, there's no.
Yeah, what's the?
If it's open for a month and nobody uses it, there's no cost.
Yeah, true, very little,
Okay.
yeah.
And we kind of discussed like after Easter and then by Halloween, that way it's springtime, Easter's come, kids are ready to go outside and play. And then after Halloween is when things start getting cold, right? Or we could even do it before Halloween if you don't want trick-or-treaters running over there and pressing the button, week before Halloween. You know, hey, that's a thought, and as a parent, I would not want to deal with that, you know, my little kid in their costume getting all wet, so, and that way it's based on a holiday, and it's easy to remember.
You want another comments or something?
Recommendation,
Okay.
and vote on it. I mean, just bring it up to the council.
Okay,
Yeah.
Deidre, could we put that on the agenda for the next meeting, ma'am? Thank you.
What's the proposed date for opening right now?
Memorial Day and closing Labor Day. Anything else? Motion to adjourn
Motion.
by Councilman Dennis,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Faison. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Labor Day.